Meeting, November 3rd, 2014. Roll call, please.
Dick Anderson.
Here.
Gordon Eggleton.
Here.
Gary Ellingson.
Excused.
Chester Norikis.
Here.
Roger Sprague.
Here.
Henry Quant.
Here.
And Wes Ryan.
Here.
Please stand for Pledge of Allegiance.
The Pledge of Allegiance. Flag of the States of America. For which it stands. With liberty and justice for all.
So it's not on the agenda. Any public comment? Now would be the time. Seeing none, we'll move on to special order of business. This is an intergovernmental agreement with the state of Oregon acting through its Oregon Health Authority, and this was regarding the Pedestrian Safety Action Plan Implementation Grant.
I'll cover this. I don't think anybody from planning is going to show up. Basically, staff applied for a grant. They were fortunate to get it. It's a $9,000 some odd grant. So it's not a lot of money, but it came along with an intergovernmental agreement, and I pointed out that you're the only body that can approve an intergovernmental agreement unless it's a renewal, in which case you've delegated that to Mr. Hawker. This kind of brings up an issue aside from the agreement itself, but whether or not you would like to delegate intergovernmental agreements below a certain dollar amount. We could do that if you think it might be of interest. You don't have to decide today, but essentially, it's a grant agreement. It has all the standard grant conditions, and they just put it in the form of an intergovernmental agreement. So I told Timothy I would get it before you.
And it seemed like, Councilor, if you read it, it looked like it was ADA improvements or education, and specifically towards crosswalks and crosswalk education, safety kind of stuff. So
signage, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I move that we approve the grant, or we accept the grant, and that it should be signed.
Execute the intergovernmental agreement.
Right.
I would second that.
I'm not sure if the mayor can sign it, or we can authorize the city manager to sign, whichever you choose.
Should we just go with the city manager signing, because it may not be...
That's fine.
Ready to go?
With my second.
Is that all right?
Yep.
Motion in the second?
Yeah.
Okay. Roll call, please, Kathy.
Eggleton.
Yes.
Norikis.
Yes.
Sprague.
Yes.
Quant.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
And Ryan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. Thank you. And then the next order of business is the ordinance 2014-24. This is marijuana tax, second reading of the ordinance.
As you recall, we had a public comment period last time. We heard some comments about taxing medical marijuana. We, in accordance with your direction, I removed the medical marijuana tax from the ordinance. Since then, the Finance Department had been looking at this and noted that there's a difference in the penalty section, so I gave you some language on the council communication that if you would accept it, we would change 328.060 paragraph B to read, any seller who fails to remit any delinquent remittance on or before a period of 60 days following the date on which the remittance first became delinquent shall pay a second delinquency penalty of 15%, 15 parentheses, and then striking 10% of the amount of the tax in addition to the amount of the tax and the penalty first imposed. In addition, we would change 328.060D to read, in addition to the penalties imposed, any seller who fails to remit any tax imposed by this chapter shall pay interest at a rate of 1.5% per month. It looks like I deleted the word percent, and should be in there. 1.5%, striking 1% per month or fraction thereof on the amount of the tax exclusive of penalties from the date on which the remittance first became delinquent until paid, with the addition of the word percent staying in as opposed to being deleted. Staff would recommend that you make those penalties and interest consistent with the TRT ordinance. And again, that was just finance, and they have programs where they've calculated the penalties and interest, and if we change it, then we're going to have to, they're going to have to redo the program.
Okay. Sounds good.
With that, then I'll do the second reading. This is the second reading of an ordinance amending the Lincoln City Municipal Code, Title III, Revenue and Finance, adding a new Chapter 3.28, establishing a tax on the sale of marijuana and marijuana-infused products in the city of Lincoln City. Be looking for a motion to approve second reading and adopt the ordinance.
I would move that we approve second reading and adopt the ordinance with the changes made.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'm glad to see that the medical marijuana was removed from that, but, and I support a tax on recreational marijuana, but I will not vote for the ordinance because it is in conflict with the federal guidelines or the federal law, and until such time as the two are compatible, I will not vote for it.
That's fine. You've read the wording we inserted during the first reading that references the federal law. And
I just want to make sure that the federal law has changed before we decide that the city is passing an ordinance like that.
okay, that's fine. Other questions or comments?
Yeah, my comment is I'm still the same. I'm the no new tax person.
Okay, sounds good. Mr. Epicello, I had a question, but it's more up on page 2 of the ordinance, right under purpose and limitations. In number A, the purpose of this chapter is to impose a tax upon the retail sale of marijuana, medical marijuana, and medical or marijuana-infused products, and not on the business of producing marijuana. Is there a reason why we retained that medical marijuana?
I think we could lose medical marijuana from both the first and second sentences of that.
Okay.
So if you'd like, I'll read it without that.
Okay.
A would read, for purposes of this chapter, every person who sells marijuana or marijuana-infused products in the city of Lincoln City is exercising a taxable privilege. The purpose of this chapter is to impose a tax upon the retail sale of marijuana and marijuana-infused products, and not on the business of producing marijuana.
Great. Could we go back to the motion then and
I would
stand with that correction?
I would accept that correction in my motion.
And the second?
Accepted.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Norikis?
Yes.
Sprague?
No?
Quant?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
And Eggleton?
No.
Motion carries.
That passes. Great. I see no other business pending. Any other comments from the public at large? Any comments from council? Hearing none, we stand adjourned. Thank you.